What I'm going to do to solve my financial problems is I think I'm just going to go ahead and sell my car and put it on
I
black.
don't think you should be doing too much gambling tonight, Alan.
Gambling? Who said anything about gambling? It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
Stop gambling, all right? You're one spin away from generational wealth.
Gambling has become unbelievably popular in recent years, and mainstream media has not been any help in trying to curb the effect that it has on young people. We see it being popularized and even romanticized in social media, movies, and other forms of digital media that are intended to reach target audiences of teenagers and young adults, even in places such as YouTube comments that are widely accessible to children. All of these societal pressures and normalization of gambling play into the difficulties that they have on humans.
As a group, we collectively chose gambling because we all in some capacity had been exposed to it, from fantasy football and opening Madden packs to seeing dozens of kids playing poker online during school. We specifically chose the psychoanalytical lens because we are interested in what causes someone to gamble and seeing how what someone may rationally think is overridden by what the subconscious makes that person do.
According to Rutgers Addiction Research Center, over 5 million Americans meet the criteria of addictive gambler, but only a shocking 8% of these people seek treatment and help for their disorder. We see time and time again parents lose their families, life savings, and livelihoods for another bet. Like Patrick Chester, who publicly shared a story on a TED Talk, who aptly named it the silent addiction. Although we are not sure what causes an addictive gambling disorder, the Mayo Clinic states the environment, mental health disorders, and gender, the fact that men are more likely to develop a gambling problem, are all risk factors. The Mayo Clinic also gives the long list of problems, or potential problems that may arise from the addiction, including, but not limited to, financial loss, relationship strain, legal problems, and suicidal thoughts. Among Gamblers Anonymous members, 12 to 18% members say they have attempted suicide. Almost half of these say they plan to kill themselves, and a whopping 80% say they wanted to die at some point. Take it from Patrick Chester, who, after stealing and losing $9 from his son's piggy bank because he lost all of his money, thought his only way out was suicide.
Do you sports bet?
Yes, I have.
How much money have you made?
I've made around $300.
How does it impact actually watching the game?
When watching it, you feel a lot more nervous and like you're more into the game and you're stressing about it.
I think the leading cause for addiction is in gambling.
Probably trying to make up what you've lost. You only want to bet what you have.
Charlie explained how he felt a lot more nervous watching the games, along with being more emotionally connected to the game. He also explained how the biggest leading cause for addiction is trying to make your money back when you're down. Psychologically, your brain doesn't want to lose money when you play, but people get into a constant loop that makes them want to win back their money because of the dopamine rush that is obtained when they win. Gambling creates a dopamine response because of the unpredictable rewards. Even near or small wins will keep the brain engaged, reinforcing the behavior, leading to over time the brain associates gambling with reward, anticipation, and other things, making it really hard to walk away.
Makes you keep wanting to play poker even when you lose.
I don't really lose that much, but when I do lose, I lose all my money, and it gets me really motivated to keep winning more.
With that being said, how much do you think you've lost or made?
Well, I think I'm up in total. I think I'm up like a couple $100.
How does that affect you mentally?
Makes me feel like I'm him, you know? Like none of my friends can compete with me. I'm the best.
All right, thank you.
In the interview you just saw, Johnny goes in depth about the dopamine variable reward because he states the feeling you get when you win is a really good feeling, and you just want to keep getting that and making more money. Across everyone we interviewed, we see a connection of dopamine and not wanting to lose all of your money when you gamble. But when we gamble often, our brains get used to the dopamine, which makes that winning feeling difficult to achieve. Consequently, we may have to gamble more and more to feel the same level of pleasure. Our brains achieve something called sensory adaptation, where we need to do more and more to fuel our egos.
All right, who am I here with today?
Mr. Vernarchek here in the business department.
All right, so how would you describe gambling's impact on young people, especially students?
You definitely see an increase in conversation between students in class about parlays and bets and stats from the night before and whether or not they won. So it's definitely become more and more popular amongst the student body.
With that being said, how do you believe gambling affects people's mental health and relationships?
It can definitely put a stressor on relationships. It's something that some people look as a negative impact on society, and some people might have the opposite view and think it's fine. But anytime that you're in a relationship and you're dealing with winning or losing money, it's definitely got to be a conversation you have to have with your other half.
I know you mentioned how students talk about it in class, but from your experience, what are some of the most concerning trends you've seen with gambling?
Students think it's sustainable, that they might win a couple. I hear students talk about they win a couple, but it's called gambling for a reason, and the old saying is that the house always wins. So you start losing some bets, and I worry about students who are winning a couple, then they start to lose some, and then they start to chase and try to make that money back, and that's when you get into a bigger hole than what you can handle.
So do you think gambling has a positive or negative effect on school students?
On school students, I definitely think you need to be financially. You need to have a strong financial foundation and at least have the knowledge of what the whole industry is about. They're out there to make money. I think students don't need to be gambling because they're too young right now. And I know that they say you have to be 18, I think on some sites, but I know some have gotten around that. It's definitely not someplace that students should be playing around in, and it can lead to some bad habits later in life.
All right, thank you.
I'm Gabe. And I was wondering, have you ever spent more money gambling than you intended to?
Yeah.
And what makes you want to buy back in when you lose money?
To try and break even, or just win your money back.
Thank you.
Here with. My name is Mr. Watson. With the rise of online gambling, what are the biggest risks and challenges that you've seen?
It is my impression that many people will gamble online not with their own money, but with borrowed money. In other words, with a credit card. That is risky.
Thank you.
Further, with what the teachers we interviewed said, we can confirm what all the other interviewees like Bennett and Gabe told us. Buying back in happens when we just want to make our money back, although this usually goes further than just making money back. This typically becomes a problem for many people when we see them use credit cards or money that they don't actually have.